I told you can't trust these. Now, Puffy done killed Tupac, man.
50 Cent went on stage last year and said this.
Maybe I said because he got Tupac.
You know, and I know, that everyone believes that Diddy was involved in both these shootings and had a direct involvement in your brother's death. That is what the streets have said for 27 years. That's why 50 Cent said it. That's why Eminem has said similar stuff. Would you be comfortable saying that you believe Diddy had nothing to do with it?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable saying that because I don't know. If you look at all the theories, the theory involving him is quite high on the list.
Ron, any comments? Any comments on the trial so far? You got to see opening statement.
He's having his day.
He's having his day.
He's having his day. We trust the justice system.
Thank you, sir.
What if the biggest mystery in hip-hop was never really buried? What if every time we think the story is over, something new drags it back into the light? Just minutes ago, 50 Cent reacted to shocking claims resurfacing in a new Netflix documentary about Tupac's death, and suddenly a case from 1996 feels dangerously current again. And here's the part people miss. This isn't just about one night in Las Vegas. It's about years of tension, loyalty, ego, and allegations that have never fully disappeared.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect. But I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah. No, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that.
Documentary reopens debates around Tupac Shakur's 1996 Shazero Ting and D3F, a case that officially remains unsolved in terms of conviction for the actual K, Ling. But the story didn't start in Vegas. According to many accounts, the fracture began 2 years earlier in New York City at Quad Studios in 1994. That night, Tupac was ambushed in Shazero T multiple times during what he believed was a setup. Present in the building were several figures connected to the East Coast scene, including artists and executives who would later become central to the rivalry narrative. No court ever proved that those individuals.
Former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind.
Years later, a man named Dexter Isaac claimed in 2011 that he was involved in the Quad Studios R0 Beverly and Shazero Ting, alleging he acted under orders from music executive Jimmy Henchman. Henchman has consistently denied those claims, calling them false and unproven. No court ruling ever established Henchman as responsible for orchestrating the attack on Tupac. But Isaac's confession reignited old suspicions, and that's where it gets messy, because once doubt enters the picture, it spreads fast.
And change Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, alright, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you?
Loyalty and perception. Allegations circulated that behind-the-scenes tensions were worse than what fans saw. Some commentators suggested that egos and business pressures were colliding in dangerous ways. None of those claims were proven in court, but they shaped public belief. And when perception hardens, reality almost doesn't matter anymore. Then
He's
came
going to take this
September
case
7th,
because Keefe D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices. And I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keefe D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not gonna talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. You know, or you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go, because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust this.
Decades later, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested in 2023 and charged in connection with Tupac's murder. Authorities publicly confirmed the indictment. Keefe D. had previously given interviews where he described events from that night, naming individuals and discussing alleged conversations.
You got so many conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, you know, Tupac was moving in the hospital. He was, you know, talking in the hospital. But you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac's condition?
By the time I got there, remember, I was coming from LA. So by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, you know, that's going to be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, you know, with his big old eyes, you know, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition, but I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him, from your point of view, what made her pull the plug, respectfully?
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. So I think it was like twice before she, you know, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, you know, when I found out.
As the trial moves forward, some family members and commentators question why certain other names mentioned over the years have not faced charges. Law enforcement has not announced charges against those individuals in connection to Tupac's murder. That silence fuels speculation, and speculation feeds headlines, and headlines keep the story alive. One name that continues to echo is Diddy. Over the years, various rumors have linked him to alleged behind-the-scenes tensions. In interviews, Diddy has repeatedly denied any involvement in Tupac's death, calling such accusations nonsense and stating he trusts the justice system. There have been no formal charges filed against him in the Tupac case. That distinction matters. Allegations are not convictions, but public opinion often doesn't wait for verdicts. Public figures like 50 Cent and Eminem have referenced long-standing rumors in lyrics and interviews, adding cultural weight to the speculation. Yet referencing rumors is not the same as proving them, and that's a tightrope this story walks, between entertainment, rivalry, and unresolved legal reality. The documentary also explores a relationship between Diddy and the notorious B.I.G., highlighting how the East-West rivalry reshaped hip-hop permanently. Biggie himself was K, lulled in 1997, and his case...
Tupac was going to get robbed at Quad Studios?
Well, I don't think I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves, and Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was going to do to Pac, or he's going to get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know Puff had
describing attempt to speak, the family's grief, and Afeni Shakur's heartbreaking decisions after multiple medical crises. Those are not conspiracy theories. Those are confirmed family recollections. And they remind us that behind every headline is a human loss.
He had another bracelet with like a bicycle chain with charms on it, right? Couldn't say that, all right? He had the diamond chain on with the chain with diamonds at each length going through it, right? He had a big stone on the diamond ring and a smaller stone, one for $35,000 and the one for $20,000, all right? So even Stretch that did this shit, I took his bracelet too, and changed it and put his name, my man's name on it, and took off the name on it. So motherfuckers claiming that this even so hold on, homie. Claiming that he was Tupac's stepdaddy, wrote me and wanted me to have my people meet him and give him back the chain and shit, talking about some redemption shit. You know, them niggas ain't
so hold on, hey Dex. So that day that happened, November 30th, 1994, it wasn't just Tupac and Freddie Nichols. Stretch was with them too?
Stretch was with them too, yeah. Stretch set the whole shit up. He was in cahoots. He was giving us play-by-play where they was at. On their way there, he was in communication with Jimmy and shit. You know, Jimmy promised him two big eggs and shit.
Wow, so he sold Pac out for a quarter brick, basically.
As each documentary as each portion update unfolds, the same tension retaliation.
Wow.
Was it gang retaliation? Was it fueled by industry rivalry? Were there deeper financial motives? As some have alleged, law enforcement has presented its current case against Keefe D. Beyond that, much remains disputed. And that's where it gets complicated. Because nearly 30 years later, people aren't just asking who pulled the trigger. They're asking who benefited from the aftermath. Careers shifted. Power structures changed. Narratives solidified. None of
a photograph on one of your walls, and it had Tupac on it wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy named Dexter Isaac that came forward who claimed that you were connected to the Tupac shooting. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, 100%. I've never ducked from answering any Tupac questions, which I could understand if I don't know how Quad Studio morphed into, like I was in Vegas and was part of the shooters that actually ended in his demise. And let me say, me and Tupac were friends. And me and him were friends. I had nothing against Tupac. I liked him. He was younger than me. I'm sure that he looked up to me. There's many moments that me and Pac had that were very intimate, where he's talked to me about things that he was afraid of or things that he loved to do and all of those kind of things. Here it is, you have a prosecutor and you have a guy who's in jail for life. When they pulled Dexter down to interview him in regards to what he knew about me and Tupac and so on and so forth, I have no doubt at this point that Dexter probably was the guy or one of the assailants on Tupac. But Dexter's story just doesn't make sense. Dexter tells a story that I wanted a ring for my fiance, and so I tell him to get the diamond ring from Tupac so I can give it to my fiance, and so on and so forth. He tells this magical story. The only person that can believe such a story is Todd Kaminsky, who was the prosecutor who was trying to make some